Welcome to Hannity. Buckle up. Busy news night tonight. Tonight, the Democratic Party, they are on the verge of an all-out civil war. Nancy Pelosi has lost complete control of her radical socialist base. Freshman Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib and Omar, and Ayanna Pressley are now running the show. Speaker Pelosi is now totally powerless. I don't know why she even has the gavel. President Trump has weighed in, and now the fake, phony, moral, selective outrage machine of the left is in full gear. How did we get here? Tonight, we will break it all down. We have a special Hannity investigation into these fanatical leaders of the Democratic Party. Now, last week, the gloves came off between Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Speaker Pelosi. The feud then boiled over during an interview when Ocasio-Cortez suggested Nancy Pelosi is a racist. I've been saying she is Nancy Pelosi, Speaker in name only, and we have been right all along. AOC's attack last week came immediately after Pelosi told the entire Democratic House caucus to voice their concerns directly to her, face to face, not on social media. What did Ocasio-Cortez do? She went straight to social media. So the question is, who really has the power? And meanwhile, AOC's close friend and colleague, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, launched a racial attack against Pelosi's allies, even some in the Congressional Black Caucus. Watch this.
For all of you that have aspirations of running for office, for whatever lived experience and identity that you represent, if you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
All right, tonight, it does not matter what Speaker Pelosi says, what she does. The radicals are in charge. Anyone who opposes them, of course, quickly labeled xenophobic, homophobic, Islamophobic, racist, sexist, a bigot, and want dirty air and water. The so-called squad of far-left freshman congresswomen are now using identity politics, even against members of their own party. The end goal is to fundamentally reshape America. That's what the new Green Deal is always about. It's always been about. It's not about climate change. It's not about saving the environment. Not at all. Instead, its primary purpose is to move the economy away from capitalism and free market opportunity and a society that pays off risk and reward towards socialism, where the government controls all the means of production. AOC even said, we'll tell you how to run your business. And as a matter of fact, the chief of staff for Ocasio-Cortez, look at this, recently said, the interesting thing about the Green New Deal is it wasn't originally a climate change thing at all. I'm right. Now, some House Democrats, they're sounding the alarm, and they are circulating a poll showing that only 18% of key voters in swing districts have a favorable view of socialism. That same poll reveals that only 22% have a favorable view of Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. And by the way, only 9% approve of Congresswoman Omar. Still, as we speak, the base of the Democratic Party is so powerful that every 2020 hopeful has adopted their fringe socialist policies. And if they don't adopt it completely, they're trashed by many of the four. And Medicare for all, taxpayer-funded health care for illegal immigrants. Oh, yeah, no restrictions on abortion at all, even during birth or in some cases after birth, infanticide. And then, of course, the Green New Deal. No more oil, no more gas, no more combustion engine. Eventually, we get rid of planes and cows. And by the way, everything is guaranteed. Universal basic income, a job, higher education, retirement, you name it, they'll provide it. The list goes on. And with each crazy new policy, these candidates are just digging a deeper and deeper hole for the general election in 2020. And while we can all agree that this country is not perfect, we all agree that we're not perfect people. There are no perfect people on this earth, that we want our leaders to work towards improving the lives of all Americans. Let's not forget, it was this country, the United States of America, the single greatest country on earth. We paid the price for freedom, defeating fascism, Nazism, communism, Imperial Japan, and we're now leading the war fighting radical Islamic terrorists. And by the way, we have contributed as a society more to humanity and the advancement of the human condition. We've asked for less. There's no country that has given more and asked for less than the USA. and we don't need to be fundamentally transformed. And sadly, radical Democrats, they believe something very different. Take, for example, Congresswoman Omar, former refugee from war-torn Somalia. Congresswoman Omar recently said that she probably loves this country more than the people that were born here. Okay, Congresswoman, if that's true, you have a pretty strange way of showing it. In fact, during those same remarks, she accused America that we're not living up to our reputation. Really? Thank you. Take a look.
We export American exceptionalism, the great America, the land of liberty and justice. That is, you know, if you ask anybody in walking on the side of the street somewhere in the middle of the world, they will tell you America the Great. But we don't live those values here.
This is not one isolated comment. Omar routinely trashes this country and sometimes resorting to conspiracy theories as well to do so. She once claimed that American soldiers slaughtered thousands of Somalis during the Black Hawk Down crisis. The truth, the reality, American soldiers were killed, hundreds of militants, literally during a clash with a violent warlord who had attacked UN peacekeepers. And that's not all. Omar also claimed that the U.S. was to blame for the al-Shabaab terrorist attack, remember, in the mall in Kenya. And she said that U.S. bullying, not socialism, led to the devastation in Venezuela. She also called former President Obama even a pretty face who got away with murder because of his use of drones. And today she even accused President Trump of causing the deaths of millions of Americans. Oh, how did he do that? Just added to the list of why people psychotically, impulsively hate Donald Trump for no particular reason in reality or rooted in reality. Take a look.
This is a president who has overseen the most corrupt administration in our history and pursued an agenda to allow millions of Americans to die from a lack of health care while he transfers millions of dollars in tax cuts to corporations.
Also, as you know, Congresswoman Omar has frequently used anti-Semitic language to bash America's relationship with our #1 ally in the Middle East, Israel, the only democracy in the region. Not long ago, she claimed that our close ties to the world's only Jewish state, all about the Benjamins, and then tweeted once, quote, "Israel has hypnotized the world. May Allah awaken the people and help them see the evil doings of Israel." And while the Congresswoman frequently uses shocking language about the country and our allies, she's constantly minimizing the horrors of terrorism. Remember, during her time as a state rep in Minnesota, she asked a judge to grant leniency to 9 men accused of trying to join ISIS. Yeah, those people that cut other people's heads off, murdering terrorists. Yeah. During a bizarre interview in 2013, she could not even contain her laughter when talking about Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah. Take a look.
Every time the professor said Al-Qaeda, he sort of like his shoulders went up, and you know,
yeah, he's in command here.
Al-Qaeda, you know, Hezbollah.
He's an expert.
And it was, you know, as
what's his name? What put his name on the
Where does he live? Saying his name. But it is that you don't say America with an intensity. You don't say England with an intensity. You know, you don't say the army with an intensity.
Seems funny to you, Congresswoman? I don't think there's anything funny about 3,000 Americans killed on 9/11 by Al-Qaeda, or, of course, Hezbollah and the terror and the death and the misery that, of course, they are responsible for. Now, Congresswoman Omar also minimized terrorists during a speech at CARE. You may remember, and keep in mind, this is a fringe Islamic group listed as unindicted co-conspirators in the Holy Land Foundation terrorism case. Take a look.
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
Some people did something. Hijacked planes, ran them into buildings that fell down, hit our Pentagon and a field in Pennsylvania. Some things. Omar calls Israel evil. She accuses even Obama and Trump of being murderers. But when it comes to 9/11 and Al-Qaeda, just some people just doing some things. Seriously? Look hard at one of the 4 leaders of today's radical, extreme Democratic Socialist Party. the people you see with the most influence on the 2020 Democratic presidential candidates. This should be shocking, but we've seen it coming. Now, each cycle, the Democratic Party, they lurch further and further and further to the left. And now there are no more Lieberman, Scoop Jacksons, moderate Democrats. They are a non-existent part of that party. As a matter of fact, I think they might be literally gone forever. They've been replaced with socialists who want the government to control your health care, our industries, our businesses, our paychecks, our lives, our choices. They want to be completely open with borders, amnesty for all, unfettered illegal immigration. And by the way, free health care to boot for illegal immigrants. Late-term abortion, even during birth and in some cases after birth. That would be called murder and infanticide. And, of course, then we got the Green New Deal. Calls for an end to all oil, gas, no more planes, no more gas-powered cars and trucks, government-forced rehab of every building in America, and, of course, taxpayer-funded meals, education, income, and everything else for people willing and unwilling to work. They don't want to improve this country. They want to remake this country into something we all know will fail. And tonight they want to impeach the one person that's been standing in their way. Let's take a look.
I have not made impeachment central to my election or my tenure. But since the day that I'd gotten elected, I'd said to people, it is not if he will be impeached, but when. So it is time for us to stop allowing this president to make a mockery out of our Constitution. It's time for us to impeach this president.
Now, if you're paying close attention, you know a little bit about the Constitution. She didn't actually list anything that would be an actual impeachable offense. No surprise there. The radical base of this party does not care about the will of the American people, the people that voted in Donald Trump against all odds and with the deep state against them. For them, it's about control. 2020, the American people, you, we, the people, you will decide. You're going to give up your personal freedoms to a radical socialist group of Democrats? Do you really trust government to take care of your every need from the minute you're born to the minute you die, whether you're even unwilling to work or not? Anyway, they vote to improve the country. Okay, preserve their unalienable rights, defend against the greatest country God has ever given man.